Having just finished talking to Tim Kelly for his Our Interesting Times podcast regarding my publication, Reflections on the 2020 Scamdemic, I thought today of what I think is a useful analogy or comparison to use when reflecting upon all the consequences that have not fallen out from all of the people who were guilty of doing all of the dreadful things that they did to the population in 2020 and 2021, which is discussed in my book, and it's also discussed in the conversation between Tim and myself, which I encourage you to check out at the Our Interesting Times podcast. But when something is over and something that's perceived as an evil or a bad is vanquished, there is a reckoning that takes place. Now, I don't want to justice is never perfect, and I know some of you will think with this example that I'm going to cite that a great deal of injustice was perpetrated. But I would say that a useful comparison is the end of World War II and the Nuremberg Trials. Now, were the Nuremberg Trials anything close to perfect? Of course not. I believe there were war crimes committed by people on both sides, and I think it's probably likely that some people who were punished in those trials were punished unjustly, and there was probably some mischief afoot that was perpetrated. I don't think it was anything close to being perfect justice, but that's not my point. My point is that's what it looks like when one side wins and vanquishes the other side. It holds these kinds of trials in order for there to be a proper reckoning. And there's never been a reckoning about, there's not been a reckoning about 2020, but there hasn't been a reckoning about everything getting back to 9/11. There hasn't been a reckoning about the assassination of JFK. Nothing that they've done has been reckoned with in any kind of official capacity. There's a lot of knowledge about it. There are a lot of people who talk about it. There's quite a bit of dissident conversation about these incidents and the evil that was perpetrated by those in power. But there's never, let's just stick with 2020 and 2021. There's never been a reckoning for the people who completely without any lawful foundation whatsoever did all manner of imposed all manner of draconian totalitarian measures upon the population. And if there were a reckoning, it would look something like the Nuremberg Trials looked at the end of World War II. Again, it's not important what you think about the war, who the bad guys were, who the good guys were. I think there was good and bad on both sides, and I think that a lot of bad people got punished at Nuremberg, but probably some people got punished unjustly. And there were also people who, on the winning side, who committed serious war crimes who were not punished at all. That's not so much the point. The point is, when one side wins and the other is vanquished, that's what it looks like. And I hope I live to see the day where we have Nuremberg trials for everything that went down in 2020 and 2021, and for all of the people who committed those vile crimes against the population in those years. I hope that their crimes are avenged, you know, through justice, but nevertheless avenged. I mean, through not through vigilante justice, but through official channels of justice, but that they're nevertheless avenged, and not least of which thinking of all the people who were pressured into a certain medical procedure and suffered and still suffer dearly because of it, and young people just keeling over, dying suddenly, and all kinds of other things, or those who have had just debilitating side effects, which are never talked about because of this procedure that was, in essence, forced upon the population. In many cases. There needs to be a reckoning for all of it, and I hope I live to see the day when that reckoning does take place. But until that happens, we need to not forget. We need to never forget, and that's my final thought. Probably not my final thought ever, but that's just as I was considering my conversation with Tim last night. That's what sort of that's the thought that sort of strikes me. So tell me what you think below. Thanks for watching.